Back with Trent Fequet on this final segment of our special Biz One-on-One on Steel River Group. You have an interesting, fascinating, I think, philosophy about employees that we were talking about. I want you to share this idea that you're very careful on how you hire, but once you hire someone, they're there for life. How does that work?
I have lots of crazy philosophies and mottos, and if you walk around the office, you'll see them peppered across the walls of the office space. Yeah, my staff is probably laughing behind the scenes right now if you ask a few other questions, but at the end of the day, for me personally, I have two kind of foundations. I have probably a bunch of things that keeps me center, and I call it the two Fs. The one F is fitness, the other one is family. On the fitness side, I devote the three things that fit inside of the fitness F. That's obviously physical fitness, staying in shape, mental health, and spiritual. On the second F, it's family. Personal family, my work family, and then family of the world that I haven't met yet. And my whole life centers around those four Fs. I compartmentalize my day around those four Fs, which is probably another question for another day. For employees that come into our organization, it's like your family. You don't get an opportunity to fire your kids one day if they disappoint you. I'm sure they're going to disappoint you every day, but that's not a luxury. So you have to manage through that proactively and hopefully not reactively. Inside of our organization, we have a policy and procedure that when we hire somebody, we have a no fire rule.
No fire rule.
We are no fire rule. That's, at the end of the day, there's situations where, the relationship might not work out for whatever reasons, but think about that you put all your managers, your executives, your hiring professionals to work to ensure that every single individual that enters our company is done so in a way that they cannot be released from the business.
Now, this is fundamentally at odds with a lot of, philosophy about how to build a successful company. For example, I'm not going to name names because it might sound bad at this point, but a very, very successful Canadian company, every month they fire the lowest end sales. The guy that's not performing, he's gone. And so you mentioned before about you're either inspiring or you're manipulating your people. This is I'm not sure I've really heard of a company that says, once you're on with us, you can't get fired. Doesn't that, I get the idea that as an employee, I might appreciate being part of the family, but what if they're not working out?
How do you think we grew the company so quick, so fast? You don't hire someone, give them all the responsibility, with none of the authority. So every individual that comes onto us, they're coming to a circle of trust that we absolutely know that they're going to make decisions based on our core values. They're, when they get in a sticky situation, they're going to look internally and make sure internally is protected first, so on and so forth. So it's a character side of it. If you put an ad for an individual, you'll get a lot of good resumes. And probably if you get 100 resumes, 90 of them are qualified at the end of the day. They had the ad, they applied to it. But maybe only one or two are truly, truly, truly qualified for our particular organization to buy into our core values.
So you hire very carefully.
Very carefully.
And you personally are involved in that interviewing process with every single employee?
Every single employee. So it goes through a gate process, more of the technical reviews, and we'll do the references and so on and so forth. Then we'll get an individual come in and do a peer review. So whatever their peer group is, they'll get interviewed by each of the peers. The peers will sign off onto the individual. Then
the people they're going to be working with, in other words.
Yeah, their peer group. So if they're at a manager level, the suite of managers will manage them. Then their support, their direct support will manage them. One thing about us in our org charts, we don't have reporting lines. We only have supporting lines. So you only ever supported by somebody. You never report to anyone. So then the final interview they walk through. Their support, wherever their support group is going to be, they sign off onto them, and then I interview them.
So if I come to work for you as a manager, I'm going to be interviewed by the people that are going to be working theoretically for me.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting. Then they talk to you. So tell me how that last interview goes with you.
For me, it's usually an interesting interview. For me, I only care what's on the bottom of the interview. What does a person volunteer? What do they do after hours? You can't tell anything about a person until you leave work You go to their house at 6 o'clock. You walk into their house, you can tell the values of that person, the beliefs of that person, how their house is set up, how they treat their kids, what kind of dog they have. You can tell everything
But
about
you're
a
not
person.
allowed to ask that kind of stuff, apparently. You get around it somehow.
If you're going to come into our family, you got to be part of the family.
So once they're in, then the whole company knows whatever goes wrong with this person or not working out, we're going to work through it just like we would our own child in a family.
Yeah, it's not the person. It's an environment. You know, a lot of people get judged on their behaviors. Well, sure. I believe nobody wakes up in the day saying, I'm going to be a loser today. Let's go to the workplace and let's do things to make everybody's life and my life miserable. Nobody does that. Does people make bad decisions? Of course. Does people have bad behavior? Of course. But I believe that all behaviors are linked back to something which is an emotion. So if you have somebody that a behavior you need to focus in on, then you step back in that and you're going to find an emotion. And that emotion is a trigger. And if we, as a company, we focus on the emotion. We can help on emotion. Somebody's sad equals a behavior. Somebody's angry, it equals a behavior. Somebody's angry, why are they angry?
Let's take addiction, for example. Okay, I'm sure if you've got several hundred people working with you, you're going to have people in there that are dealing with addiction, different types of addiction. And you may not be able to screen for that or they may become addicted while they're working in your company. How do you deal with that?
Well, like any other company, we have a program. You know, we have a benefits program that person would walk back into and be fully supported. Addiction is an addiction. Like, mental health is mental health. None of us has not been touched by that directly or indirectly. So in knowing that doesn't give the merit or the worth of that individual. That's a bunch of decisions that led up to a bad result, a bunch of behaviors that led up to a bad result. We can always correct that.
Just like in a family, you don't kick the kid out because they're addicted.
Nope.
Yeah. So how much of we've talked about a number of things in this Biz 101. What do you credit your success so quickly? What are the key elements? Because people are watching this show going, here's this dude, from Canada, from a place grew up in a place in Canada where they still don't have cell service. Mm-hmm. He's Indigenous person. He got his education, but he's now started his own company, and within 2 years, you're doing $200 million of revenue. You got all these employees. What are the key? What do you say to someone that's saying, I want to do that?
Go and find some great people that follow your vision. You have to create a vision. You have to know where you're going. Once you know where you're going, you truly know where you're going. You don't necessarily have to know exactly how to get there. But if you truly know where you're going, share that vision with as many people as possible and be as transparent and as honest with people all along the way. Communicate with people and let them follow you. Like, you can't force people down a path. You just got to go down the path, know where you're going, be confident into it, and people will follow you.
What is getting people so excited to work with you?
Well, there's a couple different things. As far as the business itself, we're just going to continue on doing what we're currently doing. We're just going to continue on bolting on more nations that we can support to bring inside the ecosystem. We're going to continue building out sub-companies that fit the models or fit the platforms that we're currently working on. Right now, the vessel is construction. Just because of the area, the regions we are in Canada, our alliance partners, our Indigenous partners, construction is the major focus. We also have an environmental component of that with water transfer and matting and so on and so forth. So we're going to continue building that out. We're going to continue trying to go across Canada with this model. We're going to continue building up alliance partners come inside this model. Where that looks in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. I can pick a revenue number, I can pick an employee number, but we'll get there when we get there.
So what personally drives you? Because you told me you get up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning and you spend 4 hours on your physical fitness, your mental fitness, and your spiritual fitness. Yep. What drives you to get up in the morning?
People. Like I have three F's, the families. That drives everything. For me to be a consistent person, to be a caring person, to be a great leader, I have to be extremely disciplined. And if I can't be disciplined, how can I be successful against the world if I can't win against myself? So yeah, I split up my day. I'm pretty unique that way. I split up my day in 4 parts, 4 sub days. So I wake up at 4 o'clock until 8, and I go to the gym at 4:30, do my meditation, I box, I take care of everything I need to do for myself in the first 4 hours. The next 4 hours, 8 till noon, I devote it to my work family. The second half of that day, I devote to my work family. And the last 4 hours of my day, I devote to my personal family. 7 days a week. Shift around the work, maybe a little less on the weekend, but 7 days a week that's my schedule.
Trent, tell me about the 5 C's of leadership.
5 C's, geez, you must have read my blog, right?
Well,
Like I said, the staff is still laughing because I have all these crazy mottos and ways of looking at things. Throughout my career, and I'll go back again to Mr. Bill Elkington. When I started working for him, I learned a lot from him. And coming away from that, I've taken things to maybe simplify it for myself and for others that are working for me. So, yeah, I had 4 C's originally, and I was doing I had the pleasure of going over to Europe, and I was sitting through this conference, and this amazing chairman and CEO was doing a speech, and he had 3 C's, and we overlapped on 2. So he had one called conviction that I didn't have. So I stole that one, and I moved it on, and I upgraded to 5 C's. So, yeah, the first one is conviction. It's just having that unwavering resilience towards a goal to achieve it. Confidence. You got to have confidence in everything you do. A lot of what I find also inside of our organization, great for you to have confidence, but you also got to share that confidence.
instill confidence.
Instill confidence, of course. It's so easy to, believe it or not, it's so easy to dilute confidence in and around the workplace. It's amazing how, and then also finding out and working with people to know truly what is confidence. Are they truly confident? Or are they just trying to portray? So for us let's make sure that everyone you're supporting does have the confidence to do their job. Courage, this one is self-explanatory. How can you teach courage? You just got to make sure you're supporting your people and yourself personally. Just take the chances. And if you take 1 or 2 chances, it's not so scary. It's like me sitting here today. First time on a TV interview. Scary, but why not take this opportunity?
That takes courage.
Take courage. It takes courage. Consistency. Well, we talked about that one in the four parts of my life. Look, I'll stand on a soapbox inside of a glass house with 2 rocks in my hand when I say consistency, because this is the toughest thing to do in life, personal life, family life. It's just so many things that can draw you off being consistent. But wherever possible, and don't get so much anxiety in your life to make sure you have to be 100% consistent. But what's wrong with 80 or 90%? Let's focus on being as consistent as possible. And for me, collaboration. When I sit so I personally do an onboarding session with every single employee that starts with a business, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a group of 10. And collaboration is absolutely key to success. One of the questions I asked the group was, sit down and write me down a problem, write on a piece of paper, a problem that you haven't resolved in your life. And everyone grabs the paper and they start thinking about it and they go, what do you mean? I have no problem I haven't resolved in my life. And I go, why? Because you collaborated. At some point through your life, you probably got stuck on an issue or a problem, work-wise, personal-wise, and you went to a mentor, you went to your coworker, and you collaborated to solve that problem. The trick of collaboration is not a one-off event on a problem or a situation, is collaborate at every step. Collaborate as much as possible through life. That's the 5 C's.
5 C's.
And it's wrapped up in a little bow around the 6th C, which is care. I guess I went through some personal tragedies in my life when I was with JV Driver. Left JV Driver for a bit. I lost my best friend. And through that, it was one of the worst experiences of my life, but I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't experience some of that hardship. And for me personally, what I ended up coming out of is that I had to find what was important to me. And for me, my motto is I choose to care. Everything in life, I stop. Every decision I want to make, I always center it around, do I care enough? Do I care enough to go to the gym? Do I care enough to take care of my mental health? Do I care enough to stay consistent in my work to ensure that my work family is taken care of? Do I care enough about my wife to not go for the dinner meeting and have a couple of glasses of wine and make sure I spend time with her? Every decision I make is centered around the 6th C, which is choosing to care.
Well, I'm glad you cared enough today to come and join us on Biz One-on-One. It's been a wonderful interview, Trent. I wish you nothing but more and more success. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.